Hey, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man B Vaughn here with We Create Music TV. And today we got an amazing guest tonight for our interview segment. We have DJ, music producer, label owner, businessman, author, speaker, man. Welcome to the show, DJ Iceman. DJ Iceman.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
What's good, man? How are you?
What's going on?
Hey, I'm good,
I'm
brother.
good, man. You know, I can't complain. You know, nice sunny day out here in Washington, nice, cool and breezy, and I'm just sitting back and enjoying the vibes.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm down here in, of course, Atlanta, where I think I was telling you before we got started, we lost AC. But, you know, so it's like 90 degrees in the house. And then in my studio space, it's probably like 100 degrees in here. But, hey, it's all good. I'm excited to have you on.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to learn more about you and what you do and your affiliations, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. And hopefully we'll share some interesting stories as we continue this conversation. So cool. Let's just kick it off. So how'd you even get started in this music industry? Just walk us through your musical journey.
Oh, man, it started many, many moons ago. You know, I would say I'm dating myself, but the gray hair already does it.
Hey, don't worry about it. I got it too.
I actually started, you know, of course, as a DJ when I was 9. My uncle AD, who is my second youngest uncle, was a DJ in Brooklyn. And I've always loved music. I was always into it. My grandfather was a jazz musician. You know, he played trumpet. I actually played trumpet until junior high school. But I was always bugging my uncle to teach me how to DJ. And mind you, this is, you know, early 80s. Hip hop is just, you know, really coming into its own. So he was still he was playing a little hip hop, but, you know, more disco type stuff. But I was bugging him. It went on for about 2 years. And then on my 9th birthday, May 7th, 1982, he actually gave me his old DJ set because he bought a new one. So he gave me his old DJ set, a couple of records, and mind you, this wasn't the traditional hip hop DJ set. It was some old belt drive Thorin turntables. With Pickering needles and a Uri rotary mixer.
Wow.
Yeah, this is how far back it goes.
Yeah. Now, see, look. I know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know. Because we both got them gray hairs right here. You know, I know. But most people don't know even what that is. They're like turntables. Like, what? Real ones? Oh, man.
Yeah. This is, you know, before the Technique 1200s, before direct drive, before mixers had cross faders. Everything was all dials and knobs. So, and I learned how to mix on that. And then, you know, of course, as the years go by, you know, I started getting more gear and, you know, started actually doing the hip hop thing because my uncle used to take me to, you know, we traveled from Brooklyn to the Bronx to go to the park jams, you know, to go see Cold Crush or Flash, or we go out to Queens to see Infinity System or the Disco Twins, or, you know, he throw his own jams.
So I don't even mean to interrupt you, but that must have been amazing right there. I mean that's literally like the birthplace of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
that must have been just amazing to be around and to witness just all of that just take place. So I mean, sorry, but yeah.
No. Looking back on it, you know, it was amazing times. You know, I literally saw a lot of history, but of course, at the time when you're doing it, especially as young as I was, you know, hey, I'm just a kid following his uncle around, you know, listening to all this, not really knowing what's going on. But like, you know, like I said, as I got older, I was like, wow, I really saw some stuff. This is crazy. You know, like I got to go to the Fresh Fest with my uncle. He actually took me to the Rocksteady battle at Lincoln Center. I was sitting on his shoulders watching the Rocksteady battle, you know, in '81. So I actually, you know, got to see a lot. And, you know, like as I got older, you know, I got into, you know, the hip hop DJing. So, you know, I was saving up and, you know, I got my first little Gemini mixer with a crossfader. And, it wasn't until 8th or 9th grade till I actually got some techniques and, you know, just went on from there. And, you know, I feel blessed because I actually grew with hip hop. All the phases hip hop went through, I went through those same phases. So, as far as DJing, I was a mixtape DJ. I wanted to be the next Ron G, the next Kid Capri, and then the '90s came about, and I wanted to be the next Steve D or the next Rock Raider with the battles, and watching Qbert and stuff like that. So, I mean, coming up, when I came up and where I came up, it was a wonderful time to be in. So, I was always blessed from that. So going further on, going to high school, I was still DJing part-time, doing the little parties. I used to cut hair for records and, spend my little summer youth check buying records, going to the record store and stuff like that. I was one of those kids who I didn't like school, but I was very good in school. I just wanted to do what I had to do and get it over with. So I actually graduated high school at 16. I went to college on a literary scholarship.
Yes, that's dope.
I went to NYU on a literary scholarship, history scholarship. So I got an associate in African American Studies from NYU. Studied my main professor was Leonard Jeffries. And then right after college, it was kind of a weird time for me because I was one of those dudes. Like I said, I never really liked school, but I did it. And, I had one foot in school, one foot in the streets. And right after college, I joined the military just to get out of Brooklyn. A lot of stuff going down. And I didn't mention, but I was, in and out of foster care and then out of group homes. I had ties with some of my family, but a lot of them, I just really lost touch with a lot of them. So, after college, I joined the Navy. I did that for a few years, and just life in general,
Life.
The whole time though, I was still DJing. So, I went from the Navy. I did. That was a pretty crazy career too, because I was a master at arms, which is basically shipboard police and security in the Navy. I actually took the New York City police exam, passed it, but there was an incident that went down in Brooklyn where somebody was out shooting. It was a standoff and a couple of cops got shot, and I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's a dangerous field too.
Yeah, I took my bonus money for getting out. And I went to bodyguard school actually. So I did that. I was a private bodyguard for a while. I did private security. I did corrections. I went from corrections. What did I do after corrections? I went from corrections to working an oil rig. I went from New York to I was a nomad. So I went from New York to boot camp in Orlando. I ended my Navy career in Great Lakes, Illinois. I have family that lived in Roswell, New Mexico, so I was off and on there for like 10, 15 years. Wow. So I did, corrections in New Mexico. I worked on an oil rig. I was a sous chef. So I did that for a while. So
man.
My two main jobs were either cooking or security, with a few stops in between. I worked at a bus plant. I did all kinds of stuff.
Look.
But, the whole time I was still DJing. And it was just a part-time thing. And then a big turn came right after. Well, while I was doing corrections, my cousin came down to the town I was staying in for an MMA fight. He was a fighter, and he asked me if I wanted to go to the show with him. Hey, I'll go with you. Because I was a big fan of UFC and stuff like that. And I was never really like a trained fighter. I just had my little bit of military training. What I did for bodyguard school, some Krav Maga stuff, and just basically street fighting, scrapping. So I'm at the show. I was cornering my cousin, and a friend of mine asked me, and he was a DJ buddy of mine, and he ran a dojo, and he asked me, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "I don't fight. I don't do this." He's like, "Hey, listen, you get to run in here, you get to beat this guy up. You don't have to worry about going to jail, and you get paid for it." I was like,
it's a win-win.
Why not? I always found that, in life, you always kick yourself over the stuff that you don't try. Always try something, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? So, I ran and got a mouthpiece and got some gear, and I got in that cage, and that cage door shut, and I was like, okay, this shit is for real. And I basically, I thought I was nice, this little white dude, pudgy white dude, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna beat this dude down, I'm the project champ. I got the supreme knuckle game, and I went in there, I got my ass whipped. Dude had me up against the cage because it was a foreign environment, it was a far cry from a project hallway. But I did well enough for my trainer. He's like, listen, we can polish you up, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Come down to Arizona, train with me for 6 months. We'll get you another fight. If you like it, keep going. If not, walk away, no hard feelings. So I was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. So I went and trained in Arizona. And from that, I wound up having a 5-year professional MMA career.
Wow.
So I did that for 5 years. I won 4 world titles. I actually have a 13-8 MMA record, a 2-1 boxing record, and a 3-1 kickboxing record.
All right, so look, so y'all already know, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you already know, he ain't playing. He's from the hood too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for real.
And look, what's so crazy? So I don't tell a lot of people this, but well, I'll say my nephew, but it's really my wife's nephew. So it kind of makes it my nephew, like nephew-in-law, is an MMA fighter, right? And so he's actually it is so funny. He's actually getting ready to fight Jake Paul, which is it Jake Paul?
Wow.
Paul Logan? Jake Paul? Yeah, Jake Paul.
What? Nice.
Tyron Woodley. But
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that's my wife's nephew. Like I said, I don't tell a lot of people that, but yeah. Oh my gosh, bro. Like I remember when he first, not to tell all this my type of stuff, but I remember when he first got started, even before he was in UFC, even before he got to Strikeforce, he had just really got into MMA and went to kind of like the same thing. Went to train for a whole bunch of months and got into Strikeforce, and then eventually got into UFC and became a bunch of UFC champion type stuff. But yo, man, that is so.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people you gonna talk to was like, yeah, I make beats, but I also MMA fighter too. Like what?
So now here's where it swings back to music, because like I said, for the whole time I was still DJing part-time. So after my fights, if I wasn't too banged up or anything, or if I didn't fight that night, I would actually wind up DJing a lot of the fight after parties.
You'd be like, I can barely move, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Ice can DJ, so I wound up doing that. So I had to go back to New Mexico to handle a legal situation. So when I got back to Arizona, my trainer, who was originally from Tacoma, Washington, wound up going back to Tacoma. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? So I stayed in Arizona for a little bit. It's actually where I met my wife. And he calls me up. He's like, hey, listen, I have a school down here that I'm about ready to open up, and I want you to help me come down and help run it. So I came out to Washington, and, I had my last few fights because I was kind of getting on in age. Mind you, I'm doing all this, and I had my first fight, all right? Mind you, my first fight was a professional fight. I got paid. My first fight was at the age of 31. So, I basically started my career when most guys retire. All right, so, I went and I had my last few fights. I actually, one of the highlights of my career was I actually got to fight on the same card as Demetrius Johnson.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. And so I came down here, I helped run the school. Then the economy took a bad turn. The school wound up going, this is like 2008, 2009, the school wound up going under. So I was like, well, I still have this DJ skill set, so let me see if I can put that to use. And so instead of going straight out DJing like I was supposed to do, I wound up, since I still had a security background, I wound up bouncing at a lot of clubs. And once I got established at the clubs that I was bouncing at, they get rid of DJs, back and forth. I'm like, hey, I DJ too. So that's how I wound up getting into the scene, going from bouncer to DJ. So it was around this time that I actually started taking the business of DJing seriously, because now I'm starting to really earn money at this. This is, not little $20 mixtape money here and there. I was actually starting to actually earn a little money. So I started, learning about marketing and branding, and started, trying to get my stuff out. I started a YouTube channel, and started getting on Twitter and Instagram, and really hitting the scene out here hard. And I started getting a couple of good looks and blog write-ups and stuff, and it just went on from there. So fast forward to 2017, I really started getting, I wouldn't say disillusioned, but disappointed with the industry, with the business side of DJing. Because at this point, streaming was, starting to hit hard, and the role of the DJ was really starting to get undermined. When you have people coming up telling you, well, I don't really need to pay you $700 to DJ for the night. I can just get an iPod. It started.
Right.
It started wearing on me after a while. I got tired of, people undervaluing what it was that a DJ does. So I just stepped back from the business of DJing. I still have a little setup that I use every now and then, but as far as business wise, I just basically retired from DJing. But upon retiring, being a creative person, I had to find something to do, because if not, I would drive my wife nuts. So a friend of mine was like, hey, why don't you start making beats? Now, knowing my upbringing and background, I'm hip hop to the core. I did not want to jump into something just to jump into it and disrespect the craft. Like I rhyme a little bit, but I don't call myself an MC. You know what I'm saying? I b-boyed and stuff like that. So I just didn't want to get into it. And basically, I just really didn't think I would be good enough to do it. Because I grew up on the Premiers and the Pete Rocks and the Lost Professors and the Easy Mo Bees and the Battle Cats, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I just never really thought I was good enough. But my homeboy was like, listen, you know what I'm saying? Just get in there. I believe in you. I think you can do it. I was like, once again, what do I have to lose? So I bought me a machine, and got me a little setup, and just really started getting into the whole beat making thing, and carried over to all the business stuff, and and here I am now, and I've been granted so many great opportunities 4 years in, which is crazy, because a lot of producers, they don't even establish their own sound 4 years in. I'm still looking for my sound. But I'm just happy, and I was blessed to be afforded so many great opportunities to do what I do. And along the way, as far as DJing, going from DJ to producer, I wound up, since I started learning so much about marketing and branding and promo, I wound up opening a little promo company, and I started doing promo for other artists. Nothing really big. There's a couple of website and blog promos. I learned how to do, Google ads and Facebook ads and social media marketing. Being a DJ, I learned how to do my own, mixtape covers. So I started doing Photoshop. I started doing intros on Sony Vegas, and, just doing all around promo stuff. I started, writing, doing little, guest spots on blogs, to the point where I started being a full-time contributor to a lot of, smaller blogs and stuff like that. So it just snowballed, the whole business thing just snowballed, and now I can just put it all together, and, here I am.
Wow. See, those are the things I love to hear. That is one hell of a journey, man. Oh my goodness. Oh man. And there's a lot in there. There's a lot in there to even unpack, right?
There really is.
Yeah, just from growing up in that era, and seeing the birth of hip hop, and seeing just how it evolved and escalated, and kind of to where it is now, right? So you've seen the whole gamut, kind of like I have. I mean, I was never in the mix of hip hop as you were, right? And so, I mean, I was in Virginia at the time, growing up, being in Virginia, small town in VA, but you heard all of these different things. I remember, things like Rap City. Even when Rap City was like back in the day, right? Even before, where we had just underground tapes, people selling tapes out of the actual real tapes, people out of their car, and tapes. That's how you got a chance to listen to it, and But
you had a lot of good history down in VA too, though. You had Skills, and you had, you know, Timberland and Pharrell, and you know that whole basement movement down there. So you know, a lot of people, you know, they don't really give VA the props that it deserves. You know, a lot of cats move from New York to go down to VA.
That's what I was about to say.
For a while.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
So you know,
I was about to say the same thing.
VA,
a lot of them moved from New York to VA, you know, and that's kind of how I met. I've met Teddy Riley. I did some stuff for Teddy Riley, you know, a while ago with his Essence. We're getting ready for the Essence Festival, but that's how I met his chief engineer. Was in VA, and I got a chance to do some work with him, and I got a chance to kind of sit under him. His name is George Mayers, but they call him Junior. And I got a chance to kind of sit under him and kind of just learn, you know, the art of mixing and kind of what he does. And but yeah, that was like I'm telling all my stuff. But yeah, that was dope. but like I was saying, there's a lot of stuff to unpack in there, right? Because not only were you doing multiple things, right? Multiple jobs, being a sous chef, working on an oil rig, you know, still throughout that you were consistent with being a DJ, whether it was part-time or not, right? And so I think that even speaks to itself, is that even though life kind of throws things at you, and trust me, it will throw some stuff at you.
Oh yeah.
You still kind of maintain, okay, here's what my true purpose is, here's what my vision is, I'm gonna go forth and do with that. But there was one thing that you said that I gotta point out. You said when your friend came to you and was like, hey, you should be a producer, you was like, well, wait a minute. Right? I don't know if I'm gonna be any good, and I don't want to disrespect the craft of producers, because you seen producers as you were growing up, and you're like, wait a minute, I take this seriously. Now I'm gonna open up some stuff. DJ Iceman. I don't know if that's the same way it is today. I think people just haphazardly, are they making some money over here? Cool, I'm just gonna jump in, regardless of little skills or care for the craft. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, you know, it's like that with a lot of kids, and then sooner or later they grow into, you know what I'm saying, the love of the craft. My whole life was, you know what I'm saying, hip-hop wasn't just something that, you know, you put on in the morning, you know what I'm saying, it's what I lived every day, you know what I'm saying,
right.
You know, whether it was the music I listened to, the people I hung around, the way I spoke, the way I walked, talked, dressed, ate, you know what I'm saying. So it was always, you know, in me. So no matter what I was doing, I was always hip hop, you know what I'm saying. If I was a chef, you know what I'm saying, I'm beatboxing, I'm chefing some food up, you know. If I'm, you know, protecting somebody, you know, everything I did was hip hop, you know, and everything, you know, you had to take seriously. You know, if you wanted to be considered, you know, good, you know, when you know, I'm gonna get on a few of these, like, you know, old man rants, you know, during this thing, so don't mind me. But you know, when I was coming up, you know what I'm saying, like being called whack, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't an insult. It was something, you know, somebody would say, "Oh, you're whack," you know what I'm saying. That just meant, listen, there's a certain level, you haven't reached that level, and you know. If you were sensitive, then yeah, you would take it as an insult. If you wasn't, you'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna practice until I'm not whack anymore, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna burn you. You know, and you go home and you practice and you get better. And even if you didn't, you know what I'm saying, burn the dude, hey, you got that respect for, you know what I'm saying, doing what you had to do and come back. You know, it's the same with b-boying. Do a move until you learn it. Same thing with DJing, right. You know what I'm saying. If it's mixing or scratching, you know what I'm saying, you have to take it seriously if you want to be good at it. And you always wanted that respect, not necessarily from the older cats, but from your peers and those above you.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what I was doing, you know what I'm saying, I wanted the people who I thought was dope to think I was dope as well. And that was my goal. That's what I worked for. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, if I was DJing, if I was doing mixtapes, I wanted Kid Capri, who I thought I was dope, to be able to listen to me and say, oh man, he's kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that meant everything. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, it's like that with the producing. You know, when I started producing, I was 44 years old. So, you know, I'm a realist. I had no preconceived notions about what was going to happen during this producing thing. You know, I never came into this with the intention of, oh, I'm gonna blow up and I'm gonna be large and I'm gonna be the next premier. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this because I have nothing else to do. I want to get good at it, and if something great comes along out of it, then wonderful. But if not, you know what I'm saying? This is a way for me to relax, to calm my demons, to, you know what I'm saying, to fill a void, and to still be able to create and give back to this culture that has given so much to me.
Hey, I like that.
That's what it is, you know. I didn't want to come in here and, you know, do this for a quick buck. This is why and for I don't want to offend anybody, but this is why I don't do trap beats. This is why I don't do light beats. You know what I'm saying? I stick to what I know. I do boom bap, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically the whole gist of it. I just didn't want to, you know, disrespect the craft by just coming in here haphazardly and just, you know, throwing something down for a quick buck.
Right. Well, I can tell you.
I learned, you know, if you follow a trend, you're going to wind up being one. Because then you're following this trend, and then what happens when the trend is over? You're over as well. You have to reinvent yourself. Just be your true self from the jump, and then you're good. Like a famous saying by DJ Scratch: you don't have to be current if you're classic.
You don't have to be current if you classic. Yes. That one, if you follow trends, you're going to be, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm going to have to write that down. If you follow trends, you will be one. Like, dang. Yes. And, you know, and, I mean, and that's kind of the, I mean, like I have a love-hate relationship with hip hop. So that's just because I'm what people will call kind of maybe like you know, I'm a quote unquote, you're an old head, right? Like, I mean, I grew up listening to the same people you grew up listening to. I remember when Run DMC came out. I mean, I remember when they came out as an actual group. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when Curtis Blow first got his video on MTV. Like, I remember, like, oh, look at this. Like, yeah. Like, so when you say you live and breathe, everything you did was hip hop. I don't know. Most people don't understand what that means. It's a culture. It's not just I just rap, you know, and I'm just here to get bread. Yeah. Like, it's a lifestyle. It's a culture. It's a movement. It's, you know, and you started speaking on, you know, the major elements of hip hop, you know, graffiti, DJing, b-boying, you know, like, and people don't kind of know even what those things are. That's why I always tell people, go back and study your history. Go back and study the things that came before, so that you'll know why you're really doing what you're doing, and you can learn from, you know, those producers, you know, the Battle Cats, the DJ Premiers, you know, the Ninth Wonders and all them. Like, go back and learn from the greats, because you can always take something from them and apply it to what you're doing today. That way you don't become a trend. And that way, that way,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but it's true though. Like, you don't have to worry about being current if you're classic. Like, you don't have to worry about it, because people are always gonna come back to you and be like, "Yo, I need some tracks. Like, let's do it." Like, I'm gonna tell you who I was super surprised about, and Manny Fresh. Like, Manny Fresh.
Manny's always been
fresh. Dope. Manny Fresh. Look. So, and then I'll move on to the next question. Look, so I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about Lil Wayne's The Funeral, the album he came out with, Funeral, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I think that's the name of the album, Funeral. And so, on that album, he has a song called Mahogany, which is like my favorite song on that entire album. And so, as we were talking, I was like, yo, that's my favorite song on this album. He was like, yeah, you know, Manny Fresh produced that. I was like, what? Like, wait a minute. He was like, yeah, that don't sound like a Manny Fresh beat, does it? I was like, no, it does not. Right? Because we know what Manny Fresh is known for. We know the sound that he built. And when I heard that, I was like, Manny Fresh. I was like, I don't believe him. I had to go look it up. Sure was Manny Fresh. And it goes back to what you said. If you are classic, you don't have to worry about being current. Manny Fresh is still cranking out hits today that people may not know as Manny Fresh, but trust me, it's, yeah, I was super impressed with that.
Yeah, and it's always one of those things where it's like, you can listen to somebody, and being a quote unquote old head, there are people out there who still, well, hip hop is dead and this, that, and the third, and I really refuse to believe that, because if you're a real hip hop head, you know how to dig and you know how to find what you want to hear.
That's right.
All right, because it's out there, especially nowadays with all the streaming and all the the YouTube and all the outlets out there. You know what I'm saying? If you're a real hip hop head, you know where to find real hip hop. And it's not just the older cats. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of young cats out here. You have the Joey Badasses, and you have the Kendricks, and you have the Afros. You know what I'm saying? Who are really out here putting out some real, stuff that you love and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? You just have to go out and get it. The whole thing was, growing up, we were so used to having the Yo MTV Raps and the Rap City and having all these mom and pop stations that would play hip hop during the day or late at night. And the big thing is, when the Media Consolidation Act of '96 came through, and for those of y'all who don't know what that was, let me break it down real quick. At one time, a radio station can have, or a radio outlet can have, a bunch of different stations in any given market, any given city. So, like a Clear Channel, they can have, 18 different, radio stations doing different genres or whatever. And it's usually the smaller stations that, took up a lot of these slots. So, but they can only have a certain amount. So the Media Consolidation Act came through and said, okay, we're going to take off the limits. So now these big companies started buying up all these little mom and pop stations and all these smaller stations in these large markets. So now everything became uniform once these big companies started buying everything up.
Sure did.
That's why you hear the same. That's why you hear the same 20 songs on the radio now every day, because all these stations work from the same playlist because they're all under the same company. All right, but what that did is that shut out a lot of local artists and a lot of local outlets that would normally get play on the radio. So I say if hip hop is dead, the Media Consolidation Act killed it. But
yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean you're right. It really did do a number on the music industry from that perspective, because I remember you couldn't hear certain music unless you were in that particular area. Like I never heard, and honestly, I never heard of Lil Wayne or Juvenile or Manny Fresh or Baby or Master P and I'll start naming some other people, ESG, MC Nero, until I moved to the South when I was stationed in Louisiana when I was in the Army. I heard I'm like, yo, wait a minute, what's this? I never heard of that. And all brand different types of music. You didn't hear West Coast music unless you were really out in that area. You didn't hear. Now with that Consolidation Act, you're right, because they play the same songs all the time, which is why I listen to radio.
It was the same way with me. You know what I'm saying? Being in New York, and I love my hometown, I love my city, but it's a well-known fact, and I'll say it, when it comes to hip-hop, New Yorkers are freaking snobs. We, for the longest time, I'm serious, for the longest time, but it was like, if it's not from New York, we're not even fucking with it. And that was a really bad attitude to take, because like, I was late on stuff like 2 Live Crew. Like, I did not know how dope Mr. Mix was as a DJ until I actually heard it. I didn't hear E40 or Too Short or something if it wasn't for Yo MTV Raps. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then when I joined the Navy and went to boot camp, you know what I'm saying, I started hearing all kinds of stuff. Ghetto Boys, street military out of Texas. You know what I'm saying? E-Sham out of Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So I started hearing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and like I said, if you're a real hip hop fan, you know how to dig and find stuff. I mean, and I don't want to be one of those old heads that like to glorify, our time, because we had whack mainstream stuff.
We did. I'll admit it. We did.
So it's like, for every hammer you heard on the radio, there was a Coogee rap that you didn't hear. you know. And then even when they played some of our favorite joints, you know, even when they played like Big Daddy Kane on the radio, or Coogee Rap on the radio, you know, those were like the cuts that were made for the radio. You really had to get the album and get those album cuts that was really like banging in the club or banging in the street.
Yeah, you got that right.
But a lot of times the stuff that you heard on TV wasn't banging in the streets. The stuff you heard, you know what I'm saying, on the radio
that's the commercialized
wasn't really banging in the clubs like that. Yeah. So, you know, it was the same thing. And it's the same thing now, you know what I'm saying? It's just on another level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You really have to dig deep to find, you know what I'm saying, all the good stuff. And it's out there. You know, you just have to, you know, skim past all the BS.
Yeah, I mean, I would say true hip hop is not there. You're right. You got to go dig for it. You know, you got to really know what you got to really know what you're looking for.
Yeah. And then another old man rant coming up. You have all these quote unquote purists, you know, all these old heads, you know, that want to talk about pure hip hop, but then don't even know about the whole culture. You're just speaking on the music, you know what I'm saying? I support the real, but you couldn't name the top 3 graph writers in your city. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't tell anybody who won the last R16 B-boy competition. You don't know who this year's DMC DJ champion is, but you're all for the culture. You know what I'm saying? And for that, you need to sit down and take several.
Get them. Get them.
You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be about the culture, then be about the whole culture.
Yeah, you know be about the whole culture.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Chuck D wasn't just talking about, you know what I'm saying, all the rappers. You know what I'm saying? He supported the B-boys. He supported the DJs. KRS, you know, and a lot of stuff today is so specialized that when somebody breaks off and do something else, all of a sudden it's shocking. Oh, Snoop is DJing now. You know what I'm saying? And the DJs get mad, not realizing that back in the days you had to multitask. If you wanted to show that you was truly embedded into this culture, you did more than one thing. And it showed with a lot of people. KRS was a graph writer. Fat Joe was a graph writer. DJ K-Slay was a graph writer. You know, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that Big Daddy Kane started as a DJ. Redman was a DJ.
I know. Redman was a DJ. He's one of my favorite rappers anyway. Like,
yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Now, all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Oh, MC Lyte is DJing. Oh, she must be broke. Or she must be, you know, this, that, and the third. No, she's a big part of the culture. Like my biggest one was Shaq. Everybody wants to get on Shaq DJing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so
Shaq Fu. Okay,
so he made his fortune playing basketball. He is more hip hop than half these people out here that are criticizing him. You know what I'm saying? Because he was DJing with real vinyl. You know what I'm saying? He has platinum records. You know what I'm saying? Rhyming. He rhymed with Big and RZA and all these cats. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I saw his big ass out there on the basketball floor doing windmills. Okay.
Yep,
so,
he was out there rapping with Fushnikins and all of them.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going to say you're about the culture, then be about the culture. You know what I'm saying? Don't just pick and choose. You know what's convenient
but it's easy.
For you to sit here and be mad about.
But it's easy to do that. It's easy to pick parts that I like, that I want to gravitate towards or utilize, and leave the rest behind. You know, it's easy to do that. You know, I mean, well, I don't want to know.
We've all done it coming up. You know what I'm saying? I started out as a b-boy. You know what I'm saying? Breakdancing. You know, I found out that that wasn't for me. You know, I can't draw a straight line, so graffiti wasn't in the cards for me.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get. I was gonna get you to explain what a graph writer was for most people who didn't know what that was.
Yeah, but, my brother, I used to go with him all the time. I used to carry his cans. We used to go down to the subway station, and I used to watch him, bomb trains and do all these big, nice murals and stuff. That wasn't me.
But that's the culture. That's the culture of hip hop. That go back and study, y'all. I'm sorry. You got two old. You got two old heads on here talking about
But I mean, even the young kids out here, you know what I'm saying? The young kids, I'll admit, as much as I don't like, you know what I'm saying, the mumble rap and the trap music and all this other stuff, the one thing that I will give to the youth is that their business acumen is so much more on point than ours were. All right, you know, you hear these old guys all the time. Well, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this kid ain't gonna be around next year. But the thing that he's doing in this year is setting him up so he won't have to be. You know what I'm saying? They really,
I will give him props for that.
They really learn how to market themselves. They really learn how to get themselves out there. They know they're not afraid to use whatever budget they have, and you know what I'm saying. They really know how to make moves. Whereas you have guys that's been around for 20, 30 years, and you know are still working 9-to-5 jobs. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, these kids really have a grasp on the business side of the industry. You know what I'm saying. The culture, not so much. You know what I'm saying. But
well, I won't say all of them, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there who, you know, the young guys who are currently out here. They know how to take advantage of the opportunities that they're presented with, right? I mean, think of the last time you heard a Lil Yachty song. I don't know, maybe. I don't listen to Lil Yachty, but I don't listen to the radio, so sorry. But I don't remember the last time. But Lil Yachty is crazy set up for the rest of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lil Yachty doesn't actually have to do anything else.
No.
Anything else.
Nope, and a lot of it has to do with, you know, branding and promotion. I tell people all the time, you know what I'm saying, you take the worst rapper out right now on the charts, and you take the best rapper who's out right now on the charts. And the biggest thing they have in common is they both have great promo, because you know who both of them are. Right,
great promo. That's right, great promo. So I want to ask, I want to kind of switch it up just a little bit, well, kind of in the same vein, but one of the questions I want to ask you is, how did you get affiliated with Wu-Tang? I want to talk about that.
Okay. All right. So, you know, as far as me, you know, taking the whole business of DJing seriously and stuff like that, I started, you know, doing a lot of promo, getting myself out there, you know, DJing. The way I really got on as far as DJing and being public, so to speak, I was sitting up watching YouTube one day, and there was this guy, he was doing a rant video, you know, stuff that pissed him off about, you know, DJing. And I was like, you know what? There's a few things that pissed me off about DJing as well. So I started, you know, doing rant videos, and they really, you know, got my foot in the door as far as Facebook and people actually, you know, listening to what I had to say, because, you know, they're like, okay, he talks about it, but now can he really DJ? And when they found out that I could really DJ, and mind you, you know, this is 2011, 2012, I ran into some health problems, so I really wasn't DJing with turntables. I actually started getting into the more digital side of DJing, and that what really started setting a lot of people off, because the purists, you know, the whole vinyl purists, you know, they're just getting used to Serato, so you know that whole thing. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. But what happened was I started doing, you know, radio slots here and there. And a friend of mine was like, hey, listen, you know, my sis DJ Soyo, she was affiliated with the Wu-Tang Worldwide DJ Coalition. She was like, listen, I like your stuff. You need to put an app in. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. But she was hounding me for like a month straight. Did you put your app in? Did you put your app in? Did you put your app in? So I finally went and put my app in. And the guy who was running the coalition at the time, Justice Hype, he hit me up. He was like, hey, listen, man, we like what you do, and, you know, we want to put you down. And I'll never forget that, because I was actually inducted into the Wu-Tang DJ Coalition on May 7th, 2011, which May 7th is my birthday. So that was a really cool thing.
That's dope.
So, you know, of course, being a part of the coalition, DJ Soyo had her own show on a Wu-Tang Radio, and she was going through some issues, and she asked me to take over her show for a little bit. So, you know, I did a couple of spots on her show. I wound up getting my own mixed show on Wu-Tang Radio, and it just snowballed from there. You know, I got with my other brother, DJ Flipside, and, you know, we did a mixtape and stuff. So when I got into producing, you know, when I left the DJing alone and got into producing, DJ Flipside was like, hey, listen, I need some beats for, you know, this compilation I got going on, you know, Wu-Tang Rocks the World. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I, slid him some beats, and just from there, everything snowballed. I wound up talking to Hellraiser, he was from Sons of Man. He had his own movement, GGO. I wound up getting with the GGO movement, and then talking to Dungeon Master from Dirty Klansman. I became a Dirty Klansman, and then Buddha Monk with Zoo Bullies. Wound up getting with Zoo Bullies, and then I wound up getting with Team OBEZ with Menace. And yeah, man, it's just been great because of these connections. I wound up doing the Wu-Tang Roxy World Series. I'm on a couple of those Wu File series. I contributed beats to those. I wound up doing some overseas stuff with my TGO brother Cuban Pete. And the biggest opportunity I've got from all of that, Flipside hits me up and he's like, "Listen, Lin Que needs some beats." Now, for those of you who don't remember Lin Que, she was an artist, phenomenal MC. She used to be with X Clan, and then when she split with X Clan, she moved on to become a solo MC. And she did have a Wu affiliation because Wu they had a female group called Deadly Venoms, and she joined Deadly Venoms for a while. But she got disillusioned with the whole music industry, and she wound up going to NYU film school. And she wound up, she's making films now. So she wound up doing her thesis film, and Flipside hit me up and is like, "Listen, she needs some tracks." So I reached out to her, and we wound up doing 3 tracks for her thesis film called Cracked, which is right now in the Tribeca Film Festival, and I think it's a few more days for that. But yeah, so that's a really cool opportunity. Like I said, I'm so blessed to be able to do that, and just this whole Wu movement has been wonderful. And I actually got to meet a few of the generals, Capadonna, Method Man, Red Man, when they came out here to do shows and stuff.
It's interesting. It's interesting what you just said. You got a chance to meet a few of the generals of Wu: Capadonna, Method Man, Red Man.
Yes,
Red Man, because Red Man was never officially part of Wu-Tang, but he pretty much is Wu-Tang anyway. Like he's a Wu-Tang member, even if he's not like
they
Wu-Tang member.
They actually made him a member, especially for his last album. Better Tomorrow. So he's on a few cuts. And like I said, it's a wonderful opportunity. And for the younger heads, for the younger cats, it may not mean much. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Wu-Tang, whatever. But for those in the know,
well, it means a lot to me.
Yes,
because Wu-Tang
it's a very wonderful opportunity to even be affiliated in this group. And I've met so many good people. Fire Nation Flames. Like I said, Dungeon Master, Buddha Monk, Hellraiser. And Hellraiser has a very interesting story as well, because he was Sons of Man, and he wound up having a brain aneurysm. Wow. And his story is it's called Risen. The Hellraiser story. It's on Amazon. You can pick it up. I mean, he literally had to learn how to walk again, how to talk again, how to rhyme. You know what I'm saying? And and being able to sit and talk with that brother was real inspiring.
Wow.
And then
I'm gonna check that out.
Cuban Pete, Smooth Mass Beats, who's another phenomenal producer, who's with us. Carnage, who's another. So many phenomenal MCs, DJs, producers, who's all a part of this movement. And and this is worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Like I've met cats from like Wu Japan.
Wow.
This shit is crazy.
Wu Japan.
It's really crazy. And like I said, to be 4 years out in my producing career, making beats and doing that, and to be afforded, these type of opportunities, it's a real blessing.
That's nice. That's nice.
And for those purists out there, I use producer and beatmaker interchangeably, and we're going to get into that because there is a difference between a beatmaker and a producer. For those who don't know. A producer, the way I word it is a beat maker makes beats and a producer makes songs. And there's a big difference with that, you know what I'm saying? As a beat maker, I can sit here and make a beat and I'll send it out to somebody, and they'll, put a rapper on it, and mix everything up, and I'm the beat maker for that. A producer would sit there, and they will, sometimes they make the beat, sometimes they don't, but they'll get the beat, they'll coach the vocalist or the rapper, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. They'll call in the engineers. If they have to, call in, somebody to play the keyboards or a bassist, they do that. They basically quarterback the whole project from beginning to end, and that's a producer, So, primarily I look at myself as a beat maker first, but being that I do my own projects as far as, instrumental albums and stuff like that, that's when I get into producer mode, because I make the beats, I sequence the albums, I do the promo, I do the artwork, I send it out to distro, and that's me with my producer hat on. So, so I use it interchangeably, but for those that don't know, there is a difference. So I don't want all the purists to get mad, be like, oh, he's not a producer, look, he's a beat maker.
You're a beat maker. There's a huge difference between that, right? Yeah. I mean, we get it. We get it. There really is a difference, though. I'm just saying. Yeah. But so that's awesome, man, that you got a chance to be inducted into that type of coalition and to be part of that type of family. It's interesting. There's some other things that you've done as well. So I want to talk about your motivation for the books that you've written. Right. So you have some pieces of literature out there. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So the first book that I did was just basically is something I just put together real haphazardly. I just basically took a bunch of my rants from Facebook and just did an ebook and just put it on Amazon, and it did okay, But then as I started learning more about the business side of the music industry, I just started, putting some of my experiences down, and just started putting stuff out there, and they're not really long reads. They're not like, they're not, Shakespearean type, stuff, but it's a lot of good common sense knowledge. Like my latest one, The Business of Beats, a common sense guide to beat making. And it's basically just that, a common sense guide, what to do, if you're going to sell beats, saying set up your website, get, all your business in order, learn how to do your promo, learn how to register your music, learn how to clear your samples, and just things like that. And, I was blessed because, the 3 books that I did on the music industry wound up being, Amazon bestsellers, which, if you really look at it, is not a big thing, because, you can put out a coloring book and be an Amazon bestseller.
You put out a coloring book.
No, I mean, seriously, it's all how you categorize it, and it's a whole big web, but I was blessed that people actually wanted to hear what I had to say and actually took heed to it. And it's the same thing with the public speaking. I got I was blessed to be able to do a couple of seminars, and which was really hard during COVID. But my boy Bill Novoa, he wound up doing some virtual music conferences that I got to speak at, and that was a really cool thing. That was a really cool thing to do.
So yeah. So shameless plug. We have one coming up. This is my little commercial. Shameless plug. We have one coming up here on June 24th. It is called Achieving Success as an Independent Music Artist. Right. So tune in, man. We got some great panelists. We got James Worthy, who is a 3-time Grammy Award winning, Grammy nominated. James, you're gonna win some awards, but he's Grammy nominated, producer, singer, songwriter. We got Jasmine Ortiz, who is an amazing. She's killing it. Like right now, trust me, she is out there. She just turned 21 today, and happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Jasmine. And she is killing. When I say she's killing the game, she dropped her single Jaguar, and within 2 days got 2 million views. Like,
nice.
How you do that? And then we got my man Matt B, who's from Chicago, international singer-songwriter, and he's just an amazing all-around guy. They're gonna come drop some gems June 24th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Register, in the link in the bio. Right. All right. Sorry about that. But,
nice.
Yeah.
Oh no, do your thing.
Yes. But yeah, and but that's, we need that type of stuff. We need people who are really in the I'll say the battlefield, writing literature that speaks to their experiences that other people can use, right? I mean, we need people like that. We don't need somebody sitting in an office somewhere going, here's how you be successful. It's like they've never done it. Like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah. And it's a funny thing because a lot of these, and it's a lot of younger folks, I hate to harp on it again, but a lot of people in general jump into the music business without really knowing what the music business is about, and this is one of the few areas where I've actually seen people do that. And it baffles me because, I mean, it's common sense stuff. If somebody gives you a spoonful of something and says, here, try this, you're going to ask questions. What is this?
Right. What is this? Why are you trying to get this?
Why you want me to try it? You don't jump straight into a pool without testing it out first. But a lot of these guys, they just jump straight into the music industry without really knowing what's going on. And this is when you see 5-10 years later, these guys are suing a label because they signed a bad deal, or they're not getting all the royalties, or as a beatmaker, they're getting sued because they didn't clear the sample, or they're not getting the royalties from the rappers or anything like that. So you always have to know the business, and I always try to impart that on people. So it's a lot of. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. So let me ask, speaking in that same vein, what advice would you give them? What advice would you give music producers, artists who want to get into this industry? I'll say your top 3. What would you tell them?
The biggest thing is learn the business. There are so many outlets out there, YouTube, sign up for a course, do whatever, go to the music conferences, whether it's virtual or in person. Gain the knowledge you need to gain for people before you even put out a project. Learn how to put it out, because once you learn these things, navigating the road in this business will be a lot easier. There's things that I've done, second big point, own everything. All right. And when I say own, I mean legally, because in this business, just because you made it doesn't mean you own it. You have to own everything on paper. Learn about your copyrights and your trademarks. Learn about your publishing. Learn about branding. Everything goes together. All right. Like the biggest example that I can throw out there is Tina Turner. If you ever watched the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, the divorce scene, she gave up everything to keep her name because she knew the power of her name. If she owned that name, then she would be successful, because if Ike would have taken the Tina Turner name, he could have licensed it, he could have capitalized off of everything Tina did afterwards.
Sure could have.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why, even if it's your given government name, trademark it. Get a logo, trademark your logo. You know what I'm saying? These are things that's going to help with your branding, help with your ownership. Because 99% of the people who got screwed in this industry is because they didn't own and control the content.
And it's easier it is so easier for music creators today to own their content. So much easier. It
is. You just got to know how to do it. Yep. And the third big thing is, and I'm gonna get real close so everybody can understand this. It is called the music business for a reason. Everything in this business will cost you some money. You cannot free yourself into a career. Have a budget for everything, because everything will need a budget. Spending money is not a bad thing. A lot of people under the assumption that if you go out and pay for promo, that it's a bad thing. No, it's not. This is what big labels and big artists do. You ask any big artist out there how much they spent, how much they invested into their own careers, it goes into the thousands and the millions. And being that this is a business, if you're lucky and you blow up, you may see the money that you're going to get. You may see back the money that you put in. A lot of times, all the money that you put in, you will not see back. But that's the chance you take. These labels are taking a chance. All right. When you see somebody who gets signed for $1 million, they don't get $1 million. All right. Number one, that advance is a loan. They have to pay that back. All right. And everything that they do comes out of that advance. So, videos, promotion, you use that money to record the album. Once your album or project comes out, all right, okay, my album's out, I can see money. No, you have to pay that money back.
Recoup
you do not
time?
See it. Yes, learn the word recoup. You do not see a dime until the label gets their money back. Then once the label gets their money back, you will start seeing some money. All right. Now, back in the days, it was a little differently. I mean, artists still got robbed, but the artists can still eat off a tour. They had different ways of eating. They eat off of the tours, they eat off of merch and stuff like that. Now, since physical records aren't selling a lot anymore, it's all streams and stuff like that. This is where the 360 deal comes in. And if you know how to negotiate, the 360 deal is not really a bad deal. The only thing is that if the record company is giving out all this money, you're not selling records anymore, so they have to find a way to get that money back. So they get it back off of your tours, they get it back off of your merch, they get it back off of your streaming. All right, so they're still getting the money back. It's just they're now taking more of what you're doing, because more of what you're doing is what's going to get their money back.
Right.
All right, and it's the same thing if you're an independent artist. Okay, I'm an independent, I don't need a label. Well, now the difference is, instead of a label giving you all the money, now you have to pay it all out of your pocket. Now, the advantage to that is that you see more of a return, all right, because you don't have to pay a label back, you're paying yourself back, all right. The detriment is you have to come up with all the money. So, it's a give and take.
Yeah, oh, goodness.
And some people, some people aren't built to be independent artists yet. You know what I'm saying? Not yet. Sometimes you may need a label to do the heavy lifting for you, to do the marketing and promotion and stuff like that. Okay?
And that's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. And everybody, everybody's first deal is a bad deal on a label. It's just how it is. You very rarely see somebody on their first deal who, number one, is actually making money, and number two, who actually gets a good deal. All right. It is what it is. All right. You have to. All right. And also learn the word leverage, all right? Learn what leverage is, because once you build your leverage, you have more to negotiate with, all right? This is why you see a lot of these independent rappers who are not on a label, but you get these major deals, because you can build yourself up on social media. You can have $50 million on social media. Guess what? Those 50 million followers, that's leverage, all right? The labels or whoever's giving you the money are tapping into your fan base. That's where you're getting the money from, because they know they can make money off of your fan base. So if you build that up, okay, this is your leverage. So now you can walk into an office and say, hey, listen, all right, you want to give me $1 million, and that's fine, but I have these 50 million followers, so I want $3 million. And you're going to give it to me because you want access to these $3 million, to these 50 million fans. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it. The more you build yourself up, the more you have to negotiate with. All right. Everybody's always saying, get what you're worth, get what you're worth. Build your worth. And then once you build your worth, then you have to learn it's not always what you're worth, it's what you can negotiate. And that's a whole nother story. But, and this is all stuff I learned the hard way, saying from DJing and, getting into producing. I learned all this stuff the hard way. But once I learned, it's a little bit easier,
Right.
And even outside of the music, I always tell, younger artists, learn a marketable skill outside of the music. Because a lot of times, a rapper, if you see a lot of these artists, they're branching out into other things. A lot of times you go to a music video and everybody is making more on the video set than the artist is. The production assistants, the cameramen, the caterers, the publicists, the runners, the grips. You know what I'm saying? Always learn something outside of the music business, even if you can use it in the music business.
Right.
Like I learned about, marketing and social media management, so that way, okay, so I'm not selling a lot of beats. Okay, well now I can go and run other artists' social media accounts. Or I can run the ad campaigns. You know, and I can also use it on myself. I run my own ad campaigns. I do my own promo. You know, anything that you can do to better yourself and learn more, you know, do it, because you can always apply it.
I mean, in this day and age, you're gonna have to. Like, I went out and I learned about what I do now, right? I mean, because I produce too, and so trust me, I'll make some stuff. But I know there's other cats out there that'll probably, you know, So I was like, what's the marketable skill I can learn, right? Because I spent years in corporate America, and so I said, okay, I need to figure out how to tie what I do in corporate America to music and put them things together. And so, which is kind of the birth of We Create Music TV. And I had to go learn about cameras and live streaming and light setups and you know, a whole bunch of stuff. So now I got a whole skill set that lives outside of music. So now I can go to other music creators and go, oh, you trying to do live streaming for your cool. Not only can I make beats for you, but I can handle all your live streaming, light setups, and all that stuff for you. So let me get that extra. Let me get that extra bread.
I mean, even as producers, all right, you see all these producers out here doing all types of stuff within producing. All right, learn how to engineer, mix and master your own music. You know, sound design is such an in-demand thing right now.
It is.
Learn how to make sound kits. Learn how to, you know, score movies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? There's so many marketable skills that you can use out there.
I'm gonna say something on what you just said, because I got a video that's coming out that's gonna talk about it. It's called "The 5 Things That I Hate About Sample Packs." You a sound designer? I'm got this pen. You making sample packs? Watch that video first, so I can tell you why I hate sample packs. Because there's some stuff in there that a lot of sample makers do, and I'm like, really, why do you do that? Like, lack of organization. You know? But we ain't even gonna go into all of that. But man,
and you know what? It's the same thing with me too, because you know, being that I live in a small apartment right now, I can't really dig like I like to, so I use a lot of sample packs. I go through a lot of stuff, and you know, the big thing about sample packs is they're okay to use. Don't let anybody tell you don't use a sample pack for this, that, and the third. Right. But know what you're doing and know what you're using. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
If the designer does not put notes in there about where the sample came from, all right, you can get into a lot of trouble.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying,
boy.
by not clearing the samples. All right. And that's another big thing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna take. Look, I'm gonna. No, go ahead. I'll let you say what you were gonna say now, and I'll try to remember. No, I'm gonna write it down.
The whole thing about producers and beat makers and stuff like that, to use samples, learn about publishing and learn about clearing samples, because you got cats out there making these big songs and they're getting sued, and you know, and it also ties into the business. If you're going to start selling music and selling beats, all right, get a business license, open a company, start a label, do your publishing, all right? So that way, if you do mess around and get sued, they won't come after your heart, they won't come after your house and car, they will come after the company's assets, and that's a whole nother story. But learn how to clear samples, all right?
That's right.
They have a wonderful site out there called TrackLib, all right? It's not a huge site, but you can actually go on this site, all right? They have a monthly plan. You get a certain amount of downloads a month. All right. You can actually sample a track. You can clear the sample on the site. You just have to give up a small. You know, they have I think it's 3 different categories.
I think it's like
samples,
3 different
categories. A, B, and C.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Anywhere from $50 to $5,000. You can actually clear a sample for $50. Use it. You know what I'm saying? The publishing is all taken care of, and it's a great way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had a chance to meet the owners of TrackLib. They came down to my homie's Willpower Studio down here in Atlanta to talk about, you know, what TrackLib is and what they do.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I've used quite a few tracks for them, but back to the original stuff. I know I went on a rant. Learn the business. You know what I'm saying? Learn about your marketing. Learn how to use your budget, and just, you know, use common sense.
That's right.
And you know, you'll be fine.
That's right. That's right. So here's what I appreciate that advice that you gave out, because, you know, like I said, you're on the forefront. You're still in the battlefield, and so you're giving that great advice to people who want to get into this industry, and these are things that they need to hear, so that they themselves don't maybe have to go through the hardships. Kind of like parents, right? We tell our kids these types of things so that they don't have to go through the same hardships that we went through. But sometimes, you know, kids can be knuckleheads. But we know how it was. When I was growing up, I was a knucklehead too.
We used to say the same way.
Yep, I was a knucklehead too growing up. No, but what I was going to say in regards to sample packs, I use sample packs. Your favorite producer, trust me, is using sample packs. I've talked to many of them, and they use sample packs. The hits that you hear on the radio, sample packs. But here's what I would say. If you use a sample pack, Shazam it. Just Shazam it and see who else is using that sample pack or that sample from that sample pack. And Shazam will tell you, and it'll bring up the artist. You can go to listen to the actual song, see what they used. I Shazam stuff all the time. Like, did somebody use this?
Or either go to, or even if you have an idea, there's a site called whosampled.com.
Oh yeah, Who Sampled?
Go there.
Yes. Yeah, Who Sampled is perfect. That's how I always go find out who made stuff. So
yeah.
So man, DJ Iceman, man, we've been talking for a while, brother, and it has been great. Like I said, it's free flowing conversation, brother. It's been great getting to know you, getting to know what you've done, and just spending time with you here on We Create Music TV. So before we close out, let me make sure we give out your social media where people can find you, find your music, things like that. So
okay, it's DJ Iceman, Big Boss Beats on Facebook, DJ_Iceman_73 on Instagram. You can go to my website, www.bigbossbeats.com. Oh Lord. DJ Iceman Official on YouTube.
Okay,
those are the main ones.
Perfect. And if you didn't catch it all, it's in the description. So you can just go to the description on the video, and you can click the links right there under his social as well. And
B Vaughn, I want to thank you, number one, for even having a platform like this for producers and artists and independent people to come and get this type of knowledge. Because I mentioned it before, there's a lot of opportunity to get this knowledge, but not a lot of outlets. And what you're doing is so vital to the independent artist community. And I want to thank you. And once again, I'm blessed for being here. Thank you for having me on here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you. Man, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for your words as well. So stick around for just a moment while I close this out. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, man, DJ Iceman, I'm telling you, like, I love his story. I just love the things that he was involved in. Kind of reminded me of some of my background and the many jobs that I worked myself in this whole journey that we call life. But make sure you go support him. Check out his social media. Check out the things that he is doing as well. It was a privilege to getting to know him and having him on the show as well. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us every Monday, every Thursday at 7 p.m. for our live interview segments. You can catch us throughout the week for when we drop videos, right? We just dropped one today. Like I just told you, I got a bunch of boxes that came in. And so I talked about what's all in these boxes. Make sure you go check out that video. And also make sure you go register for the Achieving Success as an Independent Artist panel. 3 amazing people who are going to be coming in. They're going to give you the gems. Trust me, they're going to give you the gems because they're doing all this without a record label. Matt B just went number 3 on the R&B charts on iTunes. He just got his top 40 plaque like last week. So come learn these gems. They are freely, it's free. And they're giving it out to you for free. They're giving up their time, energy, and efforts and knowledge for free. 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., June 24th. Register. You can go to our website, wecreatemusic.tv. You can go to the link in our bio on our Instagram profile. Click the link, register. Once again, it's free. But thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to hit that notification bell. Make sure to hit that like, right? Give us a thumbs up. And if you want to give us a thumbs down, just hit it twice. Greatly appreciate your time. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you on our next interview segment, and we'll see you in another video as well. Peace.